How's it going, guys? Cody, we're back again. We're dropping yet another video. Right, guys, this is a freestyle video. Someone's asked me to do this video again, and it's about prison food. Now, for those that don't know, I'm a former prisoner. I'm now a prison reform campaigner. My channel, if you're just tuning in for the first time, it's prison. It was prison advice, prison news, exposing prison deaths, prison corruption, things like that. This is the channel. The aim is to give prisoners a voice, to help prisoners' families, those people potentially go into prison, and also we've also give advice to people thinking of becoming a prison officer, as crazy as that might sound. Anyway, so this video, I've done this video years ago. Someone's asked me to readdress it. We're going to talk today about prison food. Now, my first taste of prison food was I had just been remanded into custody at Trafford Magistrates Court. The allegations stem from some police informers in Stretford. You go to Trafford Magistrates. From Trafford Magistrates, you go to Strangeways. I ended up in Strangeways. So my first taste of prison food was I'd been processed. I come off the prison van, sweatbox, whatever you want to call it, cuffed to a screw on my left hand. Never been to prison before. I was 30 years old. I got to 30 without going to prison. And then they got me in prison on a hustle, on some bullshit charges, on some fucking malicious prosecution, on witness intimidation. So I'm getting processed. They're having me pitch. I'm like, yes, mate, no problem, to the screw. I'm not your fucking mate. I wanted to join him then and there, but I was looking, there's quite a few screws. Obviously, you've got to call them sir, boss, gov, miss, missus, you know what I'm saying? So I finally got processed, got me tackle out, dropped and squatted, lifted, spread my arse cheeks, got me cock out, pulled my foreskin back, fucking turn round and all that stuff. Got me 2-minute phone call, seen the nurse, pissed into one of the drug test things, and then I was placed in a holding cell. And when I was in this holding cell, they popped the door and they didn't give you a choice. You just got like some food. It looked like fucking gruel, and it was in a polystyrene like tray. I think it was some sort of stew or casserole. Didn't taste like a stew or a casserole that I'd ever had. It was like just slop. There was not real much meat. There was a few carrots. It wasn't the best. And then I got like a plastic cup of water and some like 3 like biscuits and a thing. That was it. That was my first taste, and that wasn't even in the prison. That was in the reception area, in a holding cell. There's a big steel white thing that goes around the room. There's a TV on the wall, and it's fucking like encased in like a box, so you couldn't like rip it off the wall. That was my first taste of prison. And then obviously when I got into the actual jail, onto the induction wing, I was up on the floors, walked literally like kept having to like. It kicked off on the wing, so we had to go back to the holding cell, and then we was on the way back, and then something else happened. Finally, we get onto the wing. I was on the induction wing, up on the floors. They popped the door. They put me in with a smoker. Right? I didn't know that you can request not to go in with smokers. I was in prison. I was out of my depth. It goes down that way. On my bed, there was just like a bedding pack, like some cereal for the next morning, a little carton of milk this big, like literally probably about that big. And that was about it. And then my time in prison, the food, because obviously I was first remanded into Strangeways, right? Now, I was now on the HMP diet, right? I didn't know this at the time. I just landed at the prison. Now, the first hot meal I had, because like I said, that meal that I had in the evening of the night before when I'd been processed wasn't warm, it wasn't hot, it was like lukewarm, right? So my first hot meal, right, was actually at the dinner time, right, the following day. So I've gone down and stuff. They pop our doors, we go down. I didn't know what I was doing. I was following everybody else. Walk across the hot plate. I've got my little like plate. You walk across the hot plate, and they give me like a baby portion, a vegetarian option, because I'd not put my menus in. I was on what they call the default or the vegetarian option. Even the vegetarians don't want to eat the vegetarian option in prison, yeah, mate. So that was it. So I said to the guy, excuse me, can I have some more? And he said something along the lines of, you're not Oliver Twist, mate. You get what you're given, right? And he sort of laughed, right? And obviously, it was obviously clear to him it was my first time in prison, right? And the thing is, I'm 6'4". I was 22 stone of potential muscle, right? And that was it. And I'm thinking, so the kid next to me was about 6 stone wet through, right? We're getting the same size portion, right? You come out, and then there was a guy handing out bread. Now, the bread had been oxidized. It was like cardboard, right? You could put the windows through with the bread. It had been left oxidized. It was literally like close to the expiration date. And it was literally, you could have like flung it like a frisbee. He said, do you want some bread and butter? And I thought, well, I'm starving. This shit's not going to touch the sides. So literally, I literally went back to my pad. I had a mouthful of this vegetarian option. It wasn't for me. So I just folded the bread, fucking took some, the bread, I can't tell you how bad the bread was, right? You're in prison. You're not supposed to complain. And then people go, oh, well, there's people in care homes starving. They're not actually starving, though, are they? So I had my bread and butter, and then I got my menu in and stuff like that. And I started to get my food orders. Now, originally, the burgers were called beef burgers. The beef was taken away. So God knows what we was eating. It could have been last year's Grand National winner. We simply don't know. The meat quality, the food quality, the quality of the food, the ingredients, the size of the portions was a big issue for me. When you're 6'4" and you're 22 stone, quite apparent you like your tucker, your food, your munch, right? So I literally lost in 6-7 weeks. I lost 2 stone. I think 6 or 7 weeks. I lost 2 stone on the HMP diet. This was strange ways. My favourite meal was on a Wednesday. That meal was at dinner time. You would get a baguette, so you'd order your baguette. I used to get chicken tikka. Fair play to the boys in the kitchens, because the chicken, chickens, it wasn't a Subway sandwich in any way, shape or form, but it was a deep filled baguette, right? And you got a packet of Seabrook crisps. I used to get like cheese and onion or whatever flavour they give you, and a massive orange, right? That was my favourite meal. The chicken tikka baguette was spot on. The other food was just horrendous. I really didn't have good times with my food in strange ways. Hence why I lost 2 stone in my first 6-7 weeks. It was that bad. I felt malnourished. The quality of the food, it was an issue. In prison, food's a big thing. Now, I've seen people fight over food. I remember doing the handouts at Forest Bank, and there was 1 donut left because one of the screws or 2 of the screws, that when they send the donuts over, they sent just the amount of donuts over for the prisoners on the wing. One of the screws or 2 of the screws, I can't remember, had 2 donuts or 3 donuts. It left us short, right? So when the lads are coming up for the handouts, right, you come across the hot plate, I'm sat at a table, Ned was giving out bread and butter, I was giving out the donuts. There was 1 donut left at 2 prisoners, right? Because some people have fruit, they're on a health kick, they don't want to eat the donuts, right? So we had 1 donut, 2 prisoners, and these 2 prisoners were actually good friends, Tony Locke and another kid, I can't remember his name, and they was both kicking off, and I said, listen, don't speak to him like a knobhead, right? It's not my fucking fault, there's no donut. I didn't want to tell the boys that a fucking screw had ate their donut, you know what I'm saying? So they was like, boss, there's no donut, there's only 1 donut. And one of the lads said, look, I'll share it, I'll split it with you. So I'm not fucking splitting a donut, bro. He said, I know we're boys, but nah, I shouldn't have to. I ordered a donut, I want my fucking donut. Little things like that, little things become molehills, molehills become mountains, mountains make your head explode. Food is a big thing in prison. People that have got addictions or they can't afford drugs because their dealer might have cut them off because they're in debt up to their eyeballs. They go for sugary foods. So I think in strange ways, they used to have like a chalk ice thing or something, or the donuts or whatever. And like you get like a couple of druggies, 2 or 3 druggies, and they put like 3 or 4 donuts together, right? And walk around to the wing saying, listen, give you our 4 donuts if you give us a spliff of spice or whatever. That's how desperate people are. If they can't get the drugs and they can't club together, they will simply throw sugar into the body because they can't get that drug fix. I don't know why drug addicts go for sugary items of food if they can't score drugs. I don't understand that logic, because sugar, does it give you the same feeling as a drug? I don't simply know. Anyway, so the longer I was in prison, for those that don't know, when you're in prison, you can buy things on the canteen. In America, they call it commissary. In the UK, it's called the canteen. Now, I think, if I remember correctly, canteen in Strangeways, I think there was 1 or 2 a week. I think it was a Wednesday and a Saturday, or it might have just been 1 a week. I can't remember off the top of my head. So when you buy things on the canteen, if you've got money coming in or you're working within the prison, you can buy your own luxuries. At the time, the smoking ban wasn't in place. You could buy everything from coffee, sugar, writing pads, pens, papers, to food stuff, to biscuits, to crisps. And some of the biggest food that people buy: protein bars, people buy crisps, milk, cereal. My thing was, I used to buy tuna sachets. Well, in Strangeways at the time, it was cans of tuna, and used to the nail things that used to clip your nails. Used to use the nail clipper to actually chomp off the lid, because it was a metal thing. They don't give you fucking can openers, right? So I used to have to use the nail clip to open the actual can of tuna. When I was in Forest Bank, they made it easier, and you could buy sachets of tuna, things like lime and black pepper, it might have been tomato and basil, things like that. And you can just rip it off, and then you can add your tuna to might be some bread, some butter, whatever the case may be. If anyone that's been in prison, right? If there was like on Family Fortunes and they said prison survival food that you buy on the canteen, number 1, got to be noodles, right? I first came across these Go Noodles, or Cody Go Noodles, right, in Forest Bank, right? And inside there's 2 sachets. You've got a hot and spicy, and there's like a paprika sort of thing. The other one is Coca Noodles, and these are chicken, right? These are very versatile. I've seen people had tuna to chicken like this. I've seen people, say you're on the servery and a chicken casserole comes over, like prison. When you're a cleaner in prison, you get first dibs on the food, right? If you are working on the wing servery, you get the first dibs of food. You eat the best food, right? When it comes over, it's hot. You guys plate up. You guys eat first. It's one of the good things about working on the servery. So I've seen chicken casseroles come over, and at least 50% of the chicken has been fished out by the cleaners. Again, it causes problems with people on the servery. The lads that are eating the food, they're like, well, where's the chicken gone? Chicken casserole, it's just fucking chicken gravy with some veg. There's next to no chicken in my chicken casserole. Cleaners have wiped it out. So I've seen cleaners fish some of the chicken out, wash it off, and add it to like chicken noodles. Little things like that, right? People cook in kettles. They can make curries in kettles. Depending on what prison you're in and what category of prison you're in, depends on what your food thingy is. Obviously, when you get to your lower cat prisons, your cat C's and your cat D's, prisoners are known to cook for themselves, right? I've never been in a cat C and cat D, but yeah, again, Coca noodles. Again, these are beef. Right, these are prison survival food 101. Honest to God. Again, hot and spicy noodles. Put them into your bowl, fill it with hot water. Put your plastic thingy over the top. Go to your sink. Hold your bowl and your plate across with your noodles inside, and then obviously they've just got the gap for the water. The water will strain out. Turn it up. Add your fucking thingy to it. Whisk it up. Put whatever accompaniments you've got. Could be tomato ketchup. Could be fucking brown sauce. Could be mayonnaise. Again, another hot and spicy, and another chicken noodles. Right. I still buy these noodles to this day. Right. And again, it's prison survival food. They're cheap to buy. They're about 49p, 50p on the canteen. And prisoners love noodles. I don't know why. It was my go-to food. If I say the reason that I bought noodles, right, was to make my own scran. Now, there was one thing on the menu, like certain days on the menu, you just look at the menu and think, I'm not fucking eating that. So noodles would be under my box, under my bed. Everyone stores the food like fucking hamsters. Some it's everyone obvious for people to see. I used to just have one box or two. Well, I had two boxes, but one box just full of noodles. And people, Cody, can I grab some noodles? Yeah, yeah. My biggest thing was coffee. I was like the coffee baron. I was the porn baron on the wing, and I also had the best coffee. I used to buy Kenco, and I used to buy Red Mountain. The Red Mountain was for people that I didn't really have anything to do with, that wanted to cop a coffee. I wasn't a mug at the end of the day. If someone came to me and I was half all right with them, be like, yeah, bro, grab some of that Red Mountain. When it was the cleaners and the boys that I used to brew up for, when it was my turn, they used to brew up, I used to brew up, it would be the Kenco. I used to spend £6 a time for a sachet of Kenco, like a big resealable one. And I used to have 2 or 3 of them. Ned used to have some next door as well and everything like that. So yeah, when I'd gone, because I got shipped from Strangeways to Forest Bank. Strangeways was like a concentration camp. It was 23 hour a day lockup. It was appalling food, very bad quality. The quantity wasn't high, like what you didn't get massive amounts. It was you was limited, right? I remember I one day made the mistake of ordering a jacket potato. Right? I could have tried to escape with that jacket potato, right? You could have put the window through with it. It was so fucking hard. You could have very easily put the window through. Like I said, I used to get like a Sunday dinner. It'd be like a chicken leg that was more reminiscent of a pigeon leg. Very thin, very anemic. The roast potatoes, again, you could put the windows through with. Now, people will say you're in prison, you can't complain, right? Prisoners should be treated decently, humanely, and with good quality food, right? The nutrients that you should need to get you through a day, you should be given. You should be giving you 5 a day. And like I said, the quality of the food and everything was just appalling in Strangeways. Now, I've seen different prices bandied about. People say, prisoners get £1.20 a day to feed you for 3 meals, right? I've heard £1, I've heard 97p, right? You can't even buy a small bottle of Coke in a shop for 97p, right? You understand? And you're expected to fill a growing man. Like I've said, whether you're 6 stone wet through or you're 20 stone, 22 stone, you were getting the same size portion. And the thing is, if the lad next to you on the server is 6 stone wet through, and he's boys with a kid on the server there, know that he's going to get a bigger portion than you. It goes down that way. So when I got shipped to Forest Bank, right, when I landed at the prison, they put me on, E1 was the induction wing at the time. And I was used to Strangeways. I've been there for a few months. I've been there for several months, and I was in the routine of being in Strangeways, 22 hours a day lockup. You're getting bang up and lots of it, right? So I was used to Strangeways. Then they put me in Forest Bank, and I just didn't like the layout. I wasn't comfortable there. I was quite agitated and quite... I ended up they put me on salad, right? They put me on the default. It was a fucking salad, and I just launched it up the wall. I lost the fucking plot in there. But then one of the red badges, who, to be fair, was really fucking sound, Ken. I think he was called Ken. I can't remember his name, but I think he was called Ken. He was safe as ours. He took us to one side. He said, listen, give it a few days in here. Give it a week or two. You get a lot more association than Strangeways. You will like it. Anyway, I chilled out and I settled in and stuff. Started getting friendly with a few boys on the wing. And the food really did go up. Not the quality, but the portion size. A lot of things in Forest Bank, for example, come with chips. When these food comes in, I think that this food is on the brink of going out of date. And then I don't know, like, example, I remember getting a donut and the donut was frozen. So I thought it must be near its sell by date or gone off, and they freeze it and then they just hand it to prisoners because they're like, prisoners will be grateful for the food, right? Again, in Forest Bank, there was certain food that I used to avoid, like the soup. I ended up being a cleaner and ended up working on the servery. And on a Wednesday, you used to have baguette day again. I don't know if this is a prison thing across prisons where you get a baguette on a Wednesday. But at Forest Bank, I used to order, you could have ham, chicken, beef, turkey, or like a vegetarian, like fucking baguette. So I used to get beef, right? And my idea was, the boys had different ideas. So what I used to do is I used to get my beef baguette, bag of crisps, and then there was a soup. Now this soup, right, it was like powder, right? And it was in a big, massive, like, you know, like a thermal sort of big container with a lid and a big ladle scoop thing. And I used to have to do handouts, right? So I'd stand up and people used to come. That I tried that fucking. I dipped some bread into that soup, and it was like cat's piss. It didn't taste of anything. It looked, there was like a fucking weird like oil thing on the surface. Just didn't look right. The chicken supreme is another food that I would avoid as well. Chicken supreme was disgusting. What else didn't I like? Chicken supreme was I had an issue with that chicken supreme. It was just not right. It was like it was swimming in this watery white sauce. On a Sunday at Forest Bank, you used to get a Sunday cooked breakfast. Used to get like bacon, which was like fucking like the bottom of your sole of your shoe. Used to get an egg. I wasn't a big egg fan, so I used to give my egg to one of the boys. Like I used to get one egg. Used to get an egg, some bacon, tomatoes, and some beans, right? I don't even know if you got beans. I think we did. Anyway, so I used to give my egg to one of the other cleaners that I got on with. Can I get your egg, bro? So I used to sort my egg out. They used to sort me out when I was when I was getting my food. I was a cleaner, so I could just get what I wanted. But yeah, so that was an issue. But yeah, like, and then you get like a Sunday dinner at Forest Bank. So, example, I used to order the beef. The beef again was very chewy, very stringy. Not like. I remember that at Christmas, the papers published pictures of like American Thanksgiving turkeys and say, this is what prisoners are going to be tucking into on Christmas Day. And it's not truthful. It's not a truthful reflection of what you get fed at all. Like I said, quality of the food is down there. Portion size was better in Forest Bank. But again, a lot of things come with chips. The food quality is really, really low. And like I've said, you've got to treat prisoners humanely. You've got to give them nutritious food. Well, you should give them nutritious food. The only fresh thing that used to come over, right, fresh, that we knew was fresh, was the bananas on a Wednesday. So what we used to do, we used to have a bag of apples, right, and we'd do handouts on a Monday. It might be a Saturday, a Sunday, a Monday and a Tuesday, right? On a Wednesday, we'd hold apples back because we knew that on a Wednesday, there'd be fresh bananas, right? A box of bananas. When we used to go and get the food trolleys on a Wednesday, we'd have a box of bananas on top, right? And the idea was we'd take turns. As soon as we got back to the wing, someone would grab them bananas, run up the stairs and hide it under their bed, right? Until we'd finished all the bananas. Not one single banana would go to the prisoners. We used to run up past, it might sound selfish, I give my bananas away. I don't really like bananas. But we'd run upstairs one at a time, take turns, run across the landing, and we'd hide the bunch of bananas, box of bananas, under one of the prisoners' beds. Once service had been done, we'd rip the bananas out, right? 4 for you, like 5 for you, 6 for you, whatever, 6 for you, 6 for you, 6 for you. And that's how it used to go down. And that was the banana graft. We used to do a milk graft as well. The stores used to come over. So some of the lads, prisoners that were working in the stores, they bring over like cereal box, like big things of cereal. It might be milk. Things like that, bedding packs as well used to come over separately. And what we used to do is when we was doing the milk run, they used to bring over X amount of like trays of milk, right? So what we used to do, we'd wait for one of the screws, right? Because they was like understaffed, short-staffed. One of the screws would be in the office. One might be doing at books or be off the wing or on the bog having a shit. The other screw would be in the store, in the storeroom, in the cubbyhole, right? So we'd be like, yeah, and you walk with your milks and stuff, right? So you've got no eyes on you. 2 or 3 milk trays, right? We just fucking run, right? When you got chance, you didn't always get chance, but you'd run with your milk thing up the stairs, bam, 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 hide it under your bed, and then you break down the parcels of milk and you'd sort it between the cleaners. It was one of the perks of the jobs. But again, it caused issues. We got caught a few times because Youngie was bang on it. But yeah, like desserts in prison, things like can have cake and custard. At Christmas, they give you a stollen, which is a fucking hard, horrible, fruity, just mess. I used to give mine away. Christmas cake, if you're lucky. Gingerbread biscuits, which again, fucking out of date and stuff. Donuts come over frozen. What else? The baguette day for me. Baguette day in Strangeways on a Wednesday. Baguette day at Forest Bank on a Wednesday. They used to do hot dogs as well at Forest Bank. The hot dogs would come over, we'd get our bun, we'd toast our bun, and we used to jazz it up as best we could. It goes down that way. But yeah, prison food is always backed up with what you can buy on the Canteen. But unfortunately, not everyone's got money coming in to buy things on the Canteen. They really, really haven't. Not everyone's got a support network and a network. Not everyone's working in prison. Not everyone's got friends and family on the out sending them money. The person might have come in off the street and might have been homeless. So they can't afford to buy the food. But you can survive in prison with no money. You do get 3 meals a day. Depending on what prison you're in, depends on what sort of food you get. They're supposed to rotate the menu. There's a myth out there that Muslim prisoners that get better quality food. That's simply not true. Like I said, at Forest Bank on a Sunday, you could order sausages. Like obviously, sausages are made of pig. Pig is, as Muslims say, haram, which means dirty. They eat its own dirty or shit, and then people kill it, cook it, and eat it. Muslims will not eat pig; it's haram. But they did do vegetarian, halal sausages, as strange as that might sound, but obviously not made of pork. So in Strangeways, you just get like sausages, 2 sausages, some leathery bacon. Again, you wouldn't eat the bacon if you was Muslim. You could have an egg, tomato, beans instead, right? So Muslims don't get a better quality of food. A lot of the food that comes into prison, for whatever reason, is halal. Now that makes it easier for Muslim inmates. I don't know about Jewish inmates. I was friends with a few lads that had gluten allergies. So they used to get some special gluten bread that used to be bought from a supermarket or wherever. And that used to come in and the boys used to eat gluten things and their food was made up separately. So special dietary requirements, but really they don't get, the quality of food is not up here or down there. It's just the same. So like I said, Prison 101, noodles. Everyone, well not everyone, but a lot of people in prison buy them. If you're on a health kit, you might stick to your tuna, might buy some you can buy fruit, milk. The lower category of prison the more things you can buy. Like you can buy things in Forest Bank that you might not be allowed in Strangeways, for example. Goes down that way. You're not allowed chewing gum because you could make an imprint of a screw's key and all that crazy stuff. But yeah, prison food is not the best. It's not the most nutritious. I've seen prisoners fighting over food. 2 Hungarian lads rolling around on the landing in Forest Bank because one of the Hungarian lads ate the other Hungarian guy's biscuits. In prison, little things become big things become mountains. Mountains can cause riots. Gonna leave it there, guys. Let me know what your experiences are of prison food. Like, comment, subscribe. Cody out.